Ladies and gentlemen, the video that you have all been waiting for is finally here. After Chivo edited down all of the remaining Beatles reactions that I didn't edit myself, I knew that we were going to get to this point. I knew that I was going to have to take on the task of ranking all of the Beatles albums. Now, before we get into this, I'm going to lay some ground rules. The only things that I am going to be ranking on this list are official, full-length studio Beatles albums. No Yellow Submarine because that's half soundtrack, no Past Masters because that's not an official album, and good God, I am not including all of the Beatles solo albums because I've not even heard half of them yet. But yeah, the Beatles, they have been the biggest part of my channel easily. All of my most viewed videos are Beatles videos. The most fun videos that I honestly put out are the Beatles videos as well, because there's always something to talk about with this band. Whether it be my least favorite of their albums or my absolute favorite of them, they always provide something different. It never feels like the Beatles are playing it too safe or being too boring. There is like always a definitive thing with all of the albums that I can point out and find a lot of discussion in. And that's what makes them one of the most fun bands to talk about. Now, I've gotten a lot of angry comments over the course of me releasing these videos because I do think the Beatles as a band are a bit overrated. That's not to say they're a bad band. I think they are an incredible band. They don't have a single bad album, in my opinion. It's just when I look at their entire discography overall, I just think that there's a couple of blemishes in there, a couple of albums that I'm just not so crazy on. So yeah, going into this, I do just want to stress that even the albums that are like in dead last, I still would give the bare minimum a 6 out of 10. I think that the Beatles have not put out a single project that I can say is bad or even meh. The lowest I go on them is mixed positive. So today was supposed to be my day off as well. I was supposed to not do anything today. Today was just going to be a day where I relaxed and watched Daredevil. And I watched a bit of Daredevil earlier. So good. Almost done with season 1. Can't wait to get into the rest of this show. But I don't know. I was sat there and I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? I want to film a Beatles ranking today. It's something quick, it's something simple, it's not going to require too much editing, so I was like, fuck it, I'll do it today. With that being said, let's just get straight into this.
Well, shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout.
Yeah, my least favorite Beatles album is the first Beatles album, Please Please Me. I think the best word I can use to describe this album is okay. Because that was my response to most of the stuff that lands on this album. I mean, most of these songs just feel like they are very of the time, standard pop rock tracks that feel like they are taking influences from a lot of their contemporaries, and sort of doing a collection of covers and some original tracks that's fine, fun enough. You know, it's not offensive or anything like that. I just feel like the Beatles over the course of this album are trying to figure it out, and they absolutely have it figured out in some spots, but in others it just kind of feels like there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done. Now, don't get me wrong, the album has a fantastic 3-track run at the end with A Taste of Honey, There's a Place, and Twist and Shout. I think all 3 of those songs are great displays of how fantastic they can be as performers, as well as how incredible their chemistry can be when they really lock in. But then you also have songs on here like Chains that stand as some of the weakest tracks in the entire Beatles discography that I just really don't care for. So, yeah, this album's okay. It's not bad by any means. I think it's a pretty solid release overall. It's just one that I'm pretty mixed on and don't really ever see myself coming back to. I'd give this one like a 6 out of 10, I think.
One day you'll look to see I've gone.
Beatles for Sale is kind of a disappointing one for me, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, this album came out after A Hard Day's Night, which I think is one of the best projects in the early Beatles era. And this album just feels like a pretty significant step down. Don't get me wrong, the album has its moments, rock and roll music, I'll Follow the Sun, 8 Days a Week, but the entire album just feels kind of bland. A lot of the songs do just blend together in a pretty unsatisfying way, and it makes the project feel like it gets a little bit stagnant and repetitive at points. And even the strongest songs on this album, I just don't really see myself coming back to all that often. Yeah, this one to me is just kind of similar to Please Please Me, except the highs are a lot higher and the lows aren't anywhere near as low. It gets like a 6.3 out of 10 for me.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'm parachute.
Are we noticing a trend here with the old Beatles landing lower on the list? With the Beatles is fascinating. It is the most mixed of a bag that you get out of the early Beatles discography. It has some great songs like All My Lovin' and I Wanna Be Your Man on it, but then it also has Little Child, which fucking sucks. There are moments on here where you can really see how they would progress into Help and Rubber Soul, but then there are also points on here that feel like even a regression from their first album. But I do think the positives outweigh the negatives enough to keep it up a couple spots from last place, and the songs that I enjoy on here, I enjoy way more than the two albums that come before this. The hits on this album hit, the misses miss really fucking hard, but all in all, I do think this is an interesting listen and one that is imperative to the Beatles journey. I'd give this one like a 6.5.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
A Hard Day's Night is the first good album in the Beatles discography in my opinion. The first two I consider to just be okay, but this one I can actually say is pretty good. This album, much like with the Beatles, is a pretty mixed bag, but the highs are infinitely higher and the lows are nowhere near as low. The album starts off with the incredible 1-2 punch of A Hard Day's Night and I Should Have Known Better, and I Love Her and Can't Buy Me Love stand as some of the best songs in the early Beatles discography, full stop. And the album even ends on one of its stronger notes with I'll Be Back as well. This album has the largest crop of great tracks in the early Beatles discography, and it makes it a very satisfying and fulfilling listen. But it does still have its songs that I'm not all that crazy on, like Anytime at All and Things We Said Today. But those songs aren't bad by any means, they're just kind of meh to mixed positive for me, so there's not even any spots on this album that I can say I disliked. All in all, this is the first really good album in the Beatles discography. I'm feeling like a 7.2 on this one. Ooh, people are gonna be upset about this one, uh-oh.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be.
Listen, I know it's ranking pretty low on the list, but I still think Let It Be is a very good album. I just think that as the closer to the Beatles' discography, it doesn't work. And that's because it wasn't meant to be the end to the Beatles' discography in the first place. This is easily the most fascinating listen in the Beatles' discography because you can literally see the band falling apart in real time over the course of these songs. I mean, the tensions were just so high. George Harrison left the band a couple times, I'm pretty sure, as well. Like, the band were really not in a good spot making this, and you can kind of tell. I mean, Two of Us and Dig a Pony are admittedly pretty weak openers. And then the two interludes on here, Dig It and Maggie May, I think are some of the worst songs in the entire Beatles catalogue. But the album also has some absolutely incredible highlights throughout it as well. I mean, even the title track is one of the band's most iconic songs ever, and for damn good reason. It is one of the best ballads they put out, full stop. Not to mention songs like Across the Universe and I've Got a Feeling, which also do such a great job at capturing why the Beatles are so great moving into their later era. And it would be amiss if I didn't mention songs like I Me Mine that really do highlight how high the tensions were in the band at this time. John and Paul were the two leading control freaks of the band, swaying in completely different directions. George was the underappreciated genius that even ended up leaving the band at certain points. And Ringo was there as well. If I'm being serious though, I listened to All Things Must Pass for the first time yesterday, and hearing some of the songs that were on that album that were originally meant to land on this album, yeah, they really underutilized George Harrison. And to an insane extent as well. Like, All Things Must Pass is such a masterpiece, and the fact that none of those songs made it on here is mind-boggling to me. Yeah, this band, it's really interesting, it's really solid as well, just far from the best piece of work that the band put out due to the tensions causing them to fall apart during the process of creating this. My score is a 7.8, I'm definitely not recording this after the fact, shut up. Alright, now we're getting into the great shit. Up next we got
Help, I need somebody help, not just anybody help.
Help is so damn fun. Oh my god, this album is such a great ride front to back. This is, chronologically speaking, the Beatles' first great album in my opinion. It's like they were taking what they were doing before and just refining it to the point where you can truly see the Beatles. The performances are on point, the flow is tight as all hell, and the writing takes such a massive step up here too. Oh my god, Yesterday, damn it. Yesterday's on this album. Speaking of which, why is Yesterday not the closer? That's like my biggest complaint about this whole album. Why would you put Dizzy Miss Lizzy as the closer and not Yesterday? That is some of the worst track placement I have seen in my life. But yeah, you got some of the band's most iconic early songs on this album. You got Help, you got Ticket to Ride, again, Yesterday's on here as well. This is really the first time that it feels like the Beatles had fully come into their own and properly figured out how to put together a very cohesive album. It's a great album and the band only really get better from here. I'm feeling an 8.4 on this one.
There are places I remember all my life.
Alright, this is the first properly iconic Beatles album. This is among the list that's like in contention of like the best Beatles album. People talk about this in the same way as they do Sgt. Pepper's, The White Album, Abbey Road, and Revolver. This is just my personal least favorite of that group of albums, but it's not really for any particular reasons. I think the main thing is just that they were still in their transitional phase into their more critically acclaimed era, and it kind of shows on tracks like Norwegian Wood or Run for Your Life. But besides that, man, this is just another solid ass listen, same as Help. It really feels like the production takes a step up on this album as well. Like, this one feels like their most professional album up to this point chronologically. While I do think it's maybe a tad short at 35 minutes, the band are really able to pack a lot in there. I mean, these are some of the most fun, expressive songs in the band's entire discography. I mean, Jesus Christ, like songs like Drive My Car, You Won't See Me, The Word. Yeah, this does really feel like the band's transition point into their amazing era. And on top of that, it's just an undeniably great album. I'm feeling another 8.4 on this one. Alright, here we go, top 5. The White Album is a really weird project. It's essentially 2 albums crammed into 1 hour and a half experience, and for the most part, it really works. Disc 1 is an absolutely wild, albeit a little bloated at certain points, hodgepodge of sounds. I mean, the amount of variety you get across these first 17 tracks is nuts. I mean, it literally goes from Back in the USSR into Dear Prudence into Glass Onion as the first 3 songs. That is so weird. Not to mention, you get some of the band's best songs full stop on here. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Julia, Hello. But again, I do think the front half is a little bloated, and there are 2 songs in here that I'm just not all that crazy on, with Wild Honey Pie and I Will. I don't know, those 2 tracks just never really stuck with me on the first listen, and even coming back to them, I just don't really see all that much in them. But then you move into disc 2, and were it to stand on its own, it would honestly have a fighting chance to top this list. This is the Beatles at their most creative. I mean, the second disc opens with Birthday. That's one of the most strange yet surprisingly genius choices that the band has ever made. And I mean, the heaters just don't stop coming. Mother Nature's Son, Sexy Sadie, Helter Skelter. It even has the incredible, albeit pretty controversial, Revolution 9 on it, which I do think is one of the most legitimately experimental moments in the band's entire discography. I've gotten so much shit for saying Revolution 9 is the best moment on this album, but I honestly still stand by it. That song is just so interesting and fascinating to me every time I come back to it. But yeah, this is an undeniably great album, and despite my minor gripes with it, it is an insanely ambitious leap forward that honestly really pays off for the most part. I'm feeling an 8.6 on this one.
I saw a film today, oh boy.
Alright, here we go. It's the one that people either say is the best album ever made or the most overrated album ever made. There's just no in between with you Beatles fans. Me, I have a more reasonable take, and I think that this is great, but not the band's best. The biggest thing for me is I feel like there's just a little bit of inconsistency in the track flow. Some of these songs don't feel like they go together all the best, and the placement can be a bit awkward at points. But the songs themselves go hard as fuck. I mean, A Day in the Life is one of the best songs of the 60s. I mean, Jesus Christ, that song is so psychedelic, it's so strange, it's so eerie, but also really impactful and a perfect way to close out the concept of this album. Speaking of which, this is the band's concept album, and I think it's actually executed pretty well. Considering the fact that not many concept albums had come out at the time for them to use as reference, they did a really great job with this thing. I mean, all of the songs tied together in such an interesting way, and this is one one of the few times on a Beatles album where I actually care more about the lyrics than the sound at points. Not to mention how strong the production is on this one. I mean, Jesus Christ, the band really went above and beyond to make sure this thing sounds perfect. Yeah, moving into like the top handful of albums here, all of them are just amazing. This one is an undeniable classic. I just don't personally think it's the Beatles' best work. I'm feeling an 8.7 on this one. Pretty great shit.
Strawberry fields forever.
You know, I don't really see many people placing Magical Mystery Tour this high, and I have no idea why. This is their trippiest, creepiest, and one of their most creative projects, full stop. This thing is just overflowing with creativity front to back. I mean, this album has both I Am the Walrus and Strawberry Fields Forever on it. That is wild. Not to mention how refined the track flow on this thing is, man. I mean, it is just smooth sailing front to back, not a lull in the track list. I kind of debate in my head on whether this is a concept album or not. It does seem to have like a central theme, an idea, but it doesn't really seem like it fully commits to a full concept. And I think that that's the thing that kind of holds it back from being bumped up any higher on this list. But still, I think this is one of the most underrated albums in the band's entire catalog. People are sleeping on this one. Magical Mystery Tour is amazing. 8.8, great album, undeniable classic, deserves more recognition.
Turn off your mind, relax and float downstream.
Here we go, top two. We got Revolver coming in second place. This is the Beatles at their most fun, easily. The band keep it simple on this one, with almost all of the songs only being 2 to 2.5 minutes, but they pack them with so many little details and intricacies that make them feel just as fleshed out on any of the songs on the rest of their best albums. One thing I need to point out is that the new mix, the new stereo mix of this album, is superior. Listen, I've listened to that mono mix and it sounds okay, it sounds pretty good, but oh my god, that new mix of this album is so rich, it's so layered, that you get so much more scope and size out of these songs as well. God, it sounds incredible. I also feel the need to get a bit defensive about the song Yellow Submarine here. So many people shit on that track and say it's like the worst song in the Beatles discography. And it's not. Listen, they did Ringo dirty by having him not write this song but putting him on it anyway. But listen, this song is fine. It's an okay enough children's track. It's a 7 out of 10. It is a good song. It's fine. But yeah, you got like the band's best song on here with Tomorrow Never Knows to make up for it. I mean, come on, man. That's one of the best album closers of all time right there. One of the best of all time. I also love the way they implemented the Eastern influences on this one. It really feels like the band sort of locked down that sound and like perfected it, man. The Eastern influences are just so stunning. I mean, this album just feels like the best drug trip imaginable. It's short, it's concise, but it gives you so much to wrap your brain around, and I love it endlessly for that. 9 out of 10. Amazing, gorgeous, stunning, second best Beatles album.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter.
I mean, is anyone really surprised by this? It's one of the best albums of the 60s. I mean, it has the best songwriting, it has the best production, it has the best performances. Everything on here is just top notch. It feels like all 4 members were just firing on all cylinders here, dude. Even Ringo. I usually don't give a fuck about his songs, but Octopus's Garden is a heater. It's also one of the band's most ambitious projects, as the first half of the album is just the Beatles at the top of their game, putting out some of their best tracks full stop. And the second half is this medley of a bunch of shorter tracks that all flow into each other perfectly and tie together lyrically at some points as well. It's just one of the most creative excursions I've seen on any album ever. I made a passing mention of the production a minute ago, but I really want to highlight that this is one of the best produced albums ever. George Martin is able to get sounds out of this project that don't sound like they belong in the 60s, 70s, or even the 80s. This thing sounds incredible to this day. Come Together, for example, is an otherworldly song that doesn't even feel like it could be performed by humans in the same way that it is on this album. There is just something so timeless, so mysterious, so grand about that song that feels like it's from another planet. Even some of the heavier moments on this album, like I Want You, She's So Heavy, an 8-minute monster of a song that just keeps you strapped in for the ride the entire time and does not let up once. I mean, this thing is just so damn varied, dude. You get some of the band's most impactful songs like Oh Darling, followed by some of their most fun and creative songs like Octopus's Garden. This is the definition of a timeless masterpiece, and it's albums like this that I think of when people say the Beatles are the greatest band of all time. And I go, yeah, I can kind of see it if they can put out something like this. I know it's such a generic pick to have this in number one, but it's a generic pick for a reason. This album is the definition of a masterpiece, dude. There is not a single spot of this project that I don't, at the bare minimum, love. It's forward thinking, it's bursting at the seams with creativity, and not only that, it feels like the most complete package experience that the Beatles put out. Do I think it's the greatest album ever created? No, probably not, but I can absolutely see the arguments for why some people think it is. Albums like these are truly special, and I am just amazed that the Beatles were able to come out with something that is this mind-blowing is the only way I can describe it. It's mind-blowing. So yeah, it comes in number one for me, and I don't give a shit how generic of a take that is. This album fucks hard. 9.6 out of 10. One of the best albums of the 60s. Easily. Yeah, that is my ranking of every single Beatles album. Share your lists down below. I would be absolutely fascinated to see what different people's opinions are on all of these different albums and where they'd place them all. Check out my reactions to every single one of these albums if you haven't. They are all in a Beatles reaction playlist on the playlist section on my channel. Make sure you like and sub and whatnot. We are on our way to 2K, and we are so damn close. Oh my god, we are right around the corner from that milestone, and I can't wait to get there. Hey, what's up? It's me from the future. I shaved my head, don't worry about it. We already hit 2K as of when I am now uploading this, but still, you should subscribe anyway, because now we're on our way to 3K. Also, let me know if you like this ranking format. I've never really done a long form ranking video before, so yeah, this is my first time doing this. I was kind of doing it off the cuff. I didn't really write a script or anything like that. So yeah, I'm definitely looking to improve this, so let me know how I can down below in the comments. Yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye bye.